Hello there YouTube, welcome to Draco Ray Gaming. Today we're going to be talking about how to get maximum FPS and the best quality settings in Halo Infinite. As usual, no BS, no fluff. Here we go. Alright, we're jumping into a map here. We're going to be monitoring the FPS at all times. I'm pumping out 120 frames solid right now. The game does not have an unlimited max frame rate setting right off the bat that you can set. The most my monitor supports is 120, and we're getting a solid 120 right now plus. Very rarely do I see it drop below 120. It's usually in firefights when there's a lot going on screen with the effects and everything like that. So we're getting 120 probably to 160 frames right now. And this is a 1920 by 1080, and with most settings on medium or high. There's also some settings we need to go over that really determine what your frame rate's going to be. Now you can pump out 200 frames plus, but you're going to have to be looking at some of these settings. As you can see, it's running really well. We're going to jump over here to video settings. So what's actually dropping my FPS a little bit is that we are running 120 field of view. Now that's just something I like. Now you can tell what this looks like. This is very up close. Now you can see the frame rate is still staying 120-ish. Kill that guy there, but the frames are going to be a lot more in most firefight situations if you go and lower this. So, but I do like to run the 120 field of view, and you can see it's much wider. You can see a lot more around you. Now, my monitor only does 120 hertz, but if you're trying to run 144 or 200, you definitely can do that. So let's go through the settings I'm actually running that are going to help you get a higher frame rate. So field of view is one of them. The other thing I actually noticed is obviously VSync. We turned this off. So VSync, my max frame rate's at 120. 60 min, but this is not too important. Obviously, the resolution and the actual field of view is going to make a huge difference on your actual FPS. The other thing that's going to really make a huge difference is a lot of these different effects like blur and screen shake, different things like that. But one of the main ones is sharpening. Now, if you run like 100 sharpening, I'm sure my FPS might drop a little bit. Depends on your system. You can see things got a lot crisper and sharper, but actually not too bad. I'm actually, depending on your system, my system's actually handling the sharpening. So if you're trying to get more frames, I would lower the sharpening to 50. Raising it to 100 didn't dip my frames too harshly at all. I'm still running around 118 to probably 140, 150-ish, depending on the firefight and the settings. Now, I do like the way this looks, especially for sniping. So sharpening is something you may want to leave on for sharpening or for sniping. So, and that's that setting. That's a very last setting here, and we'll lower it to 0 and see what it looks like. So you get that foggy kind of Warzone look to it when you lower that all the way down. But man, it's running very smooth. So let's actually up the. You can see my FPS on the top right if you haven't noticed, and then let's bump that up back to 100. Wow, it looks amazing. And I'm still getting a real good FPS. So right now, let's just go through my settings. We're going to leave this match. All right, let's go through the exact settings I'm running to get the best quality while also getting a real high frame rate in Halo Infinite. I'm all about frames, yes, but I'm also about being able to see in the clarity of the game so that I can snipe, I can see opponents coming, my field of view, the tactical advantage, as well as getting the most frames. It's not just about frames, but also visibility. So let's go through what I'm running. I'm running 120 field of view, which of course is preference. I recommend at least 100. Up to you, again, preference. I'm running a borderless full screen. You may get some extra frames if you're running just full screen, but I stream, so I have to run a borderless full screen for convenience. 1920, 1910, you can run a 1080 or you can run a 2K depending on your system specs. If you're going for frames, go 1080. But honestly, in 1920 by 20 1080, with the last setting on the sharpening pushed up, it's very crisp. So I'm running 1080, 60 min and 120 on the frames. VSync disabled. Limit the inactive frame rate, not doing that. So let's go look at graphics. I ran medium or high and I was still getting around 120, which was great. So I ran medium here, high on anti-aliasing for crispness. Everything else I ran medium and had no issues. Animation quality's on auto. So I'd run auto on medium or high, and you actually have no issues. The actual auto functionality is running pretty good. Just remember to disable VSync and some of these other settings that it might re-enable. So I'm getting rid of so async compute off, blur all the way to 0, screen shake all the way to 0. Exposure and full screen effects are at 100 right now. I think full screen effects is preference. I'd recommend 50 or 100. The speed lines, I got rid of them. And then the sharpening, I would recommend a minimum of 50. If your system can handle it, go 100. And these are the best settings that I found for this game. I hope this video helped you out to absolutely get the best graphic settings, the best quality, and the most FPS out of your system. I'm Draco Ray, here to help the gaming community, and I'll see you next time.